Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Next Man Up, where we have average guys sharing their average takes on all professional sports. Hope everyone had a good New Year's. I'm your host, Matthew Russo. Today, we have our a good friend of mine, Josh Tritini, is on the show today. Josh.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Say hello to everyone. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be on this episode. It's going to be a fun wildcard weekend, or as they're calling it, super wildcard weekend.
Super wildcard weekend indeed. We're going to dive right into it. We're going to get into the games that are going on in the NFL playoffs for the first week of the playoffs, super wildcard weekend. We're going to start with the NFC. We'll jump right into it. We got the Saints. We got the Bears. The line is 8.5. I think the Saints are going to take that no problem. I'll open it up to the floor. Saints, Bears. Do we have any debate on that game?
I have a question.
Oh my God! Of course.
Sure.
No, it's an easy question. Is Taysom Hill starting, or is Drew Brees back
No,
from injury?
Drew Brees is back.
I would just like to say that while I was wrong about Mitch somehow overcoming the Packers, I was correct about Mitch bringing the Bears to the playoffs. So, like, 50.
You were.
I am not
This
going
is
to
wild.
say that Mitch Trubisky solely brought them to the playoffs, but
Yes, I think the Saints are going to take this one hands down. I don't think that it's going to be close, honestly.
Yeah, Saints.
yeah, it's Saints all the way.
Mitch Trubisky is going to win this game.
Of course.
You're off.
Oh.
You're off.
Does anybody have the horn? Does anybody have the horn out already? Oh my God!
Michael Thomas isn't going to play because he hates Drew Brees. And then the offense is going to struggle because that D-line is going to knock Kamara upside the head.
Yeah,
And then
sure.
Mitch is going to lead that team to the divisional round.
It's a minute and a half in.
So Josh, we got this. It's a recurring thing now because it doesn't stop. Apparently, we have this thing now where we have a hot take tally, but now it's becoming there's segments in the show where it's hot take or bad take with Sean Oliver. So guys, hot take or bad take?
Bad.
Bad. Boo. It's the
I'm
Sean
gonna-
take rally.
I'm gonna go with a very far-fetched hot take. I'm gonna go with.
Okay.
God.
Do
Here's
you
the thing.
believe in miracles?
No.
Do you believe in miracles?
Just because the Saints have lost a lot of games that I feel like they should have won, not because of their fault. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another situation where the refs cost them a game. So, listen, nothing's guaranteed in this league.
No.
No. I think this game will be a lot closer than people are going to make it out to be because we don't know what the situation is with Alvin Kamara yet. Because we know we had that COVID situation, whether or not he's going to be starting or not. I know they say he's at home watching film, trying to get into participation with practice from his computer screen. So that's going to be interesting to see if Alvin Kamara could even get into a game. If not, I'm not saying Murray's bad, but that kind of puts a little bit more pressure on QB Drew Brees.
Yeah. That's for sure. I mean, you can't do much when you're zooming into everything when you're trying to prep for the playoffs. Getting on the field is so important.
Exactly. And they need everything that they can for that because the Bears defense, I know people like kind of shit on them, but in all honesty, the Bears D is not one that you want to mess with. You don't want to give them a chance because if the Bears start to get hot and Trubisky for some odd reason plays like Jesus on Saturday, we could be seeing a lot closer score than we expect.
Yeah, could be close.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Saints game. We'll go into Seattle, taking on the number 6 seed Rams, sitting at 10-6. Line's closer at 4.5 for the Seahawks. Boys, what do we think?
Seahawks got that game.
Yeah.
The Rams lost to the Jets. I just don't respect the Rams in any respect at all. And if you look at the matchup, right, with the three key best players offensively, Wilson's got Jared Goff easily. Carson's a better running back than Akers is, and then DK Metcalf is an animal, and I take him over Cooper Kupp any day of the week. So I think this will be Seahawks.
I think it will be contingent on how well can the Rams D contain Russell Wilson. If they cannot, the Seahawks are going to run away with it. If they can, it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, let's not. It's not going to be the Rams offense is kind of a non-factor when it comes to this, right? Because it's what Russell Wilson comes to play that game, right? Do we get the Russell Wilson that goes out against the Giants and gets humiliated, or do we get Mr. Unlimited and we get the MVP, the guy who throws for 5 touchdown passes and makes everyone look stupid on defense? I really think it's dependent on that. So I didn't get to catch his last couple of games going into the playoffs, but if he's been playing well, he keeps it up. I think Seattle takes that game, to be honest.
Well, week 17, we didn't see a strong performance from Russell Wilson. So that's what kind of scares me going into this game, especially with the Rams defense being so talented and so good. I mean, Aaron Donald is just a freak of nature. The only other issue is Jared Goff, who just had surgery 11 days ago on that thumb. We don't know if he's going to be able to play or not. I know his status is up in the air. It's probably likely he's not going to be starting that game. So if that's the case, the Rams D needs to put on their best showcase if they're going to want to control Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Who's the backup in Los Angeles?
It's right now that accountant, I believe Wolf is his name. Played.
The accountant.
The accountant, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say, no, I didn't even know who he was. I was just gonna say that. Well, all of those things considered, I was gonna be a little higher on the Rams. I think McVay is a good coach, although the Rams are streaky. That defense is quite impressive, and I do think the Seahawks have been a little bit faulty.
And the Rams have not been.
Nick's connection is not there.
I think
Wilson
the
is
Seahawks
lost.
are definitely going to take this game because
As well.
think about Tyler Lockett. And while Jalen Ramsey is probably going to do a number on DK Metcalf, I think Tyler Lockett is that secret weapon. And like maybe if the Rams had a defensive player of the year on their team, they might have a chance. But like, I don't see a defensive player of the year on that team.
Yeah, so we'll try and get Nick back and see whatever he had to say for a second. He's cutting out, but regardless, I think we all Nick was basically saying we don't know. They're a good coach team, but we'll see if we get the Russell Wilson that is MVP status. I think it's the Rams game to come back and try and steal. I guess I think Seattle's got it in the bag if Russell Wilson comes to play. Now I would say the most interesting matchup because Brady is going into the playoffs, technically a seed behind. That doesn't really matter, but he's going to have a road game against the Washington football team with arguably the best defense in the league right now. It's Bucks line is a little over a touchdown score, but guys, what do we think? Is Chase Young wants Tom Brady? Is he going to go get himself some Tom Brady, or do the Bucks take the game?
I think that Washington's front seven are severely underrated, and I don't really think that the Tampa Bay Bucks understand what's about to come at them. And Alex Smith, if you get an Alex Smith that's playing like he did before the injury and like pretty much after the injury too, he's looked like a very good field general. They got a great receiver in Terry McLaurin. So, and Gibson's back. So I'd be a little scared. I'm not sure Washington has what it takes to win it, but it's going to be closer than a touchdown.
Well, I'm gonna hop on that. I'm gonna hop on that real quick before everyone else gets on it. I think Alex Smith, like you said, I think he's gonna be good, and if he plays well enough, he's gonna be good enough to manage the game to the point where if that defense can contain Tom Brady and have him throw for less than two or less touchdowns that game, I think it's a easily manageable game, and maybe the football team squeaks by. It won't get them anywhere farther than the first round, but maybe they squeak by if they get Brady with a bad performance on the road and a game manager in Alex Smith managing the game to the best of his ability.
Yeah. See, part of me, I think it's going to be a close game, but when it's said and done, I don't think Tom Brady's going to want to say that in his first season of the Buccaneers, he lost to the football team.
Not what we want.
Yeah. Honestly, this game is not going to be close at all, and I'll tell you why. Washington barely beat the Eagles last week. They started their third string quarterback for no reason, and they still barely won the game. Alex Smith is a great he's a great field general. He knows how to manage the game. He's a veteran. I love him. Definitely winning comeback player of the year. But he's just not going to take over a football game for you. He's played 6 games. He's thrown 6 touchdowns. We're looking at Daniel Jones status right now.
You know what would be
just minus the 50 fumbles.
Yeah, exactly. Minus the 50 fumbles, exactly. And like Connor, you said, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady, arguably the best quarterback there to play the game. He knows what's coming at him. Because listen, that Washington defense, like Josh was saying, can't take them lightly. They're pretty scary. Same thing with Sean. That defense is the only reason they'd stay in that game, but I just don't think that they're gonna be able to stop Tom Brady, especially with all the weapons he has. He's gonna get the football out quick. I don't think anyone's containing Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown and Gronk. Like, please tell me how you're gonna manage all those 4 players. I just don't see it happening. But I hope it's a good game. I really do. I like Ron Rivera. As a Giants fan, I wish it was them in there, but can't say I'm too disappointed to not go against Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens.
This game can get out of hand very fast. And I'm telling you why. If Chase Young and that line does not get after Tom Brady to start and kind of shake him up a bit, this game's going to get way out of hand. Everyone's not giving the Bucs defense enough credit. You guys are forgetting this is the defense that held Aaron Rodgers to like 10 points. This is another team that had the Chiefs to under 30 points. And we're all forgetting this is Tom Brady. Tom Brady comes up in the big moments. He's always going to shine. I never, ever want to bet against Tom Brady. And I'm not doing it now against a Washington football team who won 7 games at most. Not happening.
Yeah,
I'll give the Bucs some credit. They're going to maybe I think start off a bit slow, but I think they're just going to finish strong in that second half. I give this easily a 2-score win for the Buccaneers.
I think that's a great point. You can't let Brady settle into a game. You got to get in his face, get him all. Don't let him get in a rhythm because once he gets in a rhythm,
you got to rattle him.
Even if you take Mike Evans out of this game, because I know he's a little bit weird right now with the injury. I don't think he practiced today or yesterday. I still don't see that Washington defense getting to Brady enough times for them to win this game.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw that Mike Evans injury, but he tried to get up like 3 times and he just kept falling. It didn't look great. Hopefully he's all right and gets to play. But one more thing to wrap it up before we move on to the AFC. Could you imagine if the football team wins, right, and Tom Brady doesn't go out there and shake Alex Smith's hand? Could you imagine the scenes?
Oh, we're not gonna get this started.
Could you imagine Could you imagine if that happened? All right, moving on.
I don't live in fantasy world.
Shut up.
So moving on, we got we'll talk about this game first. 4-5. We'll go the 4-5 matchup again. Titans and Ravens. The Ravens are the 5th seed, but they are favorited by more than a field goal. And I kind of think that's the way the game's going to go. The Ravens will probably win by, I'd say, 5 points, and they'll just barely cover and they'll take the win. I don't see, unless Derrick Henry rushes for 275,000 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Easy money.
I don't know. It's their defense is nothing to shout about. I think Lamar's going to have an easy way to settle himself in, whether it be running or dink and dunk passes that he likes to do. I think he'll settle in with that defense, and as long as Derrick Henry's not picking up enough speed, and the Ravens defense forces Tannehill to throw the ball, I think that's the Ravens game to win.
The one thing I know about myself is I'll never bet against a hot team. Since Lamar Jackson had that COVID scare, they are 5-0 straight up and against the spread, and they have rushed the ball a lot of times, and we know
After
that
the poop game, baby.
What's up?
After the poop game, it's been all great.
But Lamar Jackson, the point I'm trying to make, is hot. And I guess you want to call this an upset considering the Titans are the 4 seed and they're the 5 seed, the Ravens. This game, I think, is going to go heavily favored to the Ravens all the way through. I think they get after Derrick Henry, and they're going to have to force Tannehill to pass, and I think it's just going to be a bad day for Tennessee.
I'm going to throw a little wrench in those plans.
Right.
I'm going with the Titans on this one. I think Lamar Jackson is kind of scared of primetime games. He doesn't really like playing in big games. Every time he plays in one, he loses.
It is at 105, but
what?
It's not primetime. Primetime's like 8.
He hasn't won a playoff game until this weekend. He will get his first playoff victory.
I think Derrick Henry did it last year to this defense, and they didn't really improve along that defensive line. I think Derrick Henry is going to do it again. And I think the X factor here is I really didn't want to admit this, but Ryan Tannehill is not a bad quarterback. He actually seems like a decent NFL quarterback. Like, he's done pretty well running that offense when they can't get Henry going or when they just want to switch it up. I mean, their defense has absolutely no pass rush, which I think is going to be a problem against Lamar. I think he's going to do a lot of running on the ground, but I think this is Tennessee's game to lose.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. If we remember what happened last year in the AFC, the Titans beat the Ravens 28-12. They held them to 12 points. And Lamar Jackson probably had his best year of his life. So I think the Titans are just I agree with Sean. It's their game to lose. I don't see the Ravens stopping Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'm with you, Connor and Sean. I'm going with the Titans also. Mr. Tannehill, man, I know he's your favorite quarterback ever.
Yeah, he's the best.
He had a great season. I think he threw 33 touchdowns this year. So he's
I would also have a great season at quarterback if Derrick Henry was my running back, but that's neither here nor there.
Again, he threw 33 touchdowns with Derrick Henry running the football. He's only getting better, Tannehill, in the system. Derrick Henry, I wouldn't want to get in front of him. That's a scary specimen running at me. I wouldn't want to be in his way. And honestly, Lamar Jackson, like you said, Connor, he had the season of his life last year. He honestly has not had the season he had last year, but Josh brings up a very good point. Ravens are very hot right now. They're going into the playoffs with nice momentum. So I think it's going to be a really tight game. It's going to come down to the wire. I think it will be within 3 points, but I'm going to go with the Titans.
My only issue I have right now at the Titans is they were about maybe one play away from not being a division winner. I mean, if any of you guys remember that game against the Texans, they just threw up a Hail Mary and they were just poor coverage, and then that led them to the win. I mean, we could be looking at a whole different matchup right now that weekend if they don't catch that ball and they're going into overtime. To me, the Titans, this is a team they're going to play poorly against with this Baltimore defense. Like you said, Sean, no pass rush for the Tennessee Titans, probably one of the worst in the league. If you can't get after Lamar, it's over. That's it. Lamar's going to torch you both on his legs and with his arm.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But we'll see what happens to that game. I believe it's the closest one to. No, it's not. It's not. It's the second closest.
We got Nick's connection back. Nick, are you with us by any chance?
Am I here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
all right.
good.
Good. Nick, I'd love to hear what you have to say here.
Yeah.
We're gonna
move
backing
on.
everybody on the Titans. That's it. It's easy. It's easy pick. I don't care. You have Derrick Henry. You have a good football game. You have a good system to run. The Derrick Henry's gonna run all over Baltimore. That's
it. As a Steelers fan, saying the Ravens are gonna win this game, it pains me to say it, but those are just the facts. Ravens are taking this.
I know. I'm still nervous about Lamar throwing the football. I still just not saw him throwing a football.
Looks like Cam Newton out there. Can't throw the football. He's better
Here's
on
the thing, though. Lamar's gonna have all the time in the world he has on this weekend because the Titans can't get to him. I mean, Lamar's gonna be back there baking a cake, no problem, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, can I throw now? Okay, thanks."
Coffee, a Netflix documentary. It'd be good.
What else? What else can we need?
Let's move on from that game. We'll see what happens with that game. Hopefully it's a good game. I think it's going to be really back and forth, whether it be a score fest or just punt city. But hopefully it's close. We'll move on to Nick's boy, who's going to get his ass beat in the first round of the playoffs. Colts going up against the Bills in Buffalo, number 2. Colts, number 7. Nick, this is the nail in the coffin for the Phillip Rivers Hall of Fame debate because he will not be making it past this round. It is over. The Bills are the hottest team in football in this moment. Josh Allen is proving to be good every single week. The running game is finally coming for them, and they have arguably the best corner in the league in Tre'Davious White. Bye-bye Phillip Rivers, bye-bye Hall of Fame, and bye-bye Indianapolis Colts. See you next year.
Yeah, the roll Bills, baby. Bills to the Super Bowl. Here's why. Like Matt said, they're the hottest team in football right now. They're like when you watch them, they're having fun. They're having fun and they're winning games.
They are having fun.
They are so much fun to watch. Like if you watch them, they are a team. They are together. They play well with one another. You've got one of the hottest matchups with or hottest connections in the league with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. You got a defense who's got Tre'Davious White, like Matt said, one of the best corners in the NFL. So it's definitely the Bills' game to lose, and I think the Bills are just going to stampede their way to the Super Bowl.
Let me say this. As much as I would like to be a jerk here, I'm not going to be a jerk, and I'm going to stick to the right side of this. I'd love for Philip Rivers to beat the absolute living hell out of the Bills. It's not going to happen. The Bills are the hottest team in football. Josh Allen's unbelievable. The connection between him and Stephon Diggs, as Connor mentioned, is unbelievable. That team will roll over the Colts in a way that is just absolutely ridiculous. So I will be rooting for the Colts, but it's going to be very sad. So.
Buffalo Bills, for the first time since 1995, will get their first playoff win. And you know who they beat in 1995? The Miami Dolphins.
I
Throw it out there.
don't even know.
And now they're going into this game.
Some team in New York some team has to make New York look good. The Jets certainly aren't doing it, and the Giants aren't doing it. So we'll
try to the Knicks, baby. The Knicks.
Oh, Buffalo.
The next.
But yeah, it's going to be a steamroll.
16 years later, they're going to get the win. Bills are moving on.
Yeah, it's going to be Bills. I feel like the Bills. Sean, say it.
We crush the Colts this week, so that when Big Ben rolls into town, it just blows up in their face.
It's just
how high
just
they are.
We'll get there when we get there.
Spewing out of his butt.
Disgusting.
Josh makes a great point. We'll get there when we get there because they still have a game to play. They're playing the Browns at home, 12-4 against the Browns, 11-5. Guys, I don't want to say it, but if Baker Mayfield plays as poorly as he's been playing, it does not look good for the Browns. It's going to be, yay, we made the playoffs, and then they lose by 15 to the Steelers.
Very accurate for 15. Jesus, on the point right.
It's just as much as I want the Browns to win, I don't think they're in a position to because they lost to the Jets. They barely beat the Bengals. The Raiders held them to 6 points.
I mean, it's so bad. It's
horrible.
But
yeah,
I don't know. Baker Mayfield's hit or miss. He could have the game of his life, or he could look like dog shit.
Yeah, really.
It's as much as I'll be rooting for the Browns, which vomit in my mouth because I couldn't root for either of these teams if you paid me $3 billion. But the Browns are not good enough to beat the Steelers, even though they're a fake, fraudulent team. They will skate their way into the second round of the playoffs and then get their faces smashed in by the Buffalo Bills. And I will
there's a lot of
heartily,
right here.
Heartily at Josh Allen laughing at Big Ben as he takes his ginormous, disgusting beard and walks off the field in disgrace.
Nick,
so let's go Browns. But
walk of shame as you come to apologize to me in February.
Sean, the only one who's doing a walk of shame is going to be you in like 3 weekends when you watch the Steelers get crapped on. It's going to be unbelievable. Unprecedented.
Even if the Steelers manage to somehow beat the Bills, they're going to get steamrolled by the Chiefs.
Nope. See, now hold on. My brain's just turning 1,000 places right now.
Let's one game at a time.
Okay, hold on. Let me get first to this Browns matchup.
Yeah. The only matchup that's actually happening.
The matchup that's happening. So we'll get there when we get there. The Steelers right now, they're a reason why I'm not trying to be biased, I know. But right now, the Browns having one missing piece that has probably been the main reason why they're in the playoffs right now, and that's no Kevin Stefanski. He's got the COVID, he's got the vid, as someone say. So right now, he's going to be at home watching the game. Their special teams coordinator, I believe, is going to be the acting head coach. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to beat the Steelers. The only issue I have with the Steelers is Randy Fichtner calling plays. I think he needs to take off his headset, grab a beer, sit down on the bench and watch the game and let Big Ben make the damn play calls, because we saw what the Steelers can do when Ben gets permission to make plays, as we saw what happened with the Colts in the second half.
Josh,
the Colts defense
right now.
Sean made that point very clear. Yeah. He made that he was talking all about that. He was like, look what happens when all of a sudden Big Ben's calling the plays. He can
Yo, it's almost like when the other team is calling out every single play your offensive coordinator is going to run, and you give the range to the quarterback.
Yep.
The Steelers' offense actually looks good. Like, imagine that.
Like,
Imagine
look,
that.
we saw what
not telling your plays to the other team before you snap.
we
the ball.
saw what the Steelers defense did against the Browns in Week 17 without Hayward, without T.J. Watt. I mean, I know the Steelers in the past right now have lost.
Speaking of defensive player of the year.
Yes,
Yeah.
defensive player of the year, T.J. Watt. Can't change my mind about that.
Yeah.
I think this game is going to be, I don't say like a close game, but I think it's going to be more interesting in the first half than it is in the second half. I say in the first half will probably be within a touchdown. Second half, I think the Steelers will pull away and they'll get the victory. And we'll move on to play possibly Buffalo as long as they don't blow that game against the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. 28-14 Steelers is what I'm calling.
28-14. Yeah, it's I think multiple score victory. I think it looks really.
Yeah, I would say at least within 10 to 13 points.
Yeah.
Josh, I know that you said that you were going to be the rational, unbiased fan, and that's great because we need one of those when we have two Steelers fans on the show.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be rational about it at all.
So here's the thing. This is what the Steelers are going to run into. I know in the beginning of the year, we had one of the best rush defenses, but then it slowly started to fall apart. If the Browns keep pounding the line and the Steelers defense cannot get to it, this game is going to be scary close, and my heart's not going to be able to take it. But that's okay.
I think the biggest thing for that is the fact that Robert Spillane is coming back this week.
Exactly.
We have missed having an actual middle linebacker play the middle linebacker position.
Right.
Because we haven't had one that started a game in like
A few weeks now. A couple months.
Like, it's been ridiculous. And now we are getting a defense that actually, like, they were already the best defense in football. Now they're getting more of them back.
And you know who Spillane stopped?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick
Met him
Henry.
in the gap.
Yeah.
So
Vomit.
It's my bold prediction.
I'm gonna throw.
The Browns aren't
It's a
scoring
wrap. It's a
touchdown.
wrap. It's a wrap, bro.
The Browns
Here's
are
the
not
thing.
going to score a touchdown.
Here's the thing.
And
We've
throws
seen in
at
the
least three.
past. No, I'm so sorry. I cut you off.
Oh, hell.
Browns don't score a single touchdown. The Steelers are going to blow them out in the same fashion the Bills are going to blow out the Colts. And then the Bills are going to be watching this, and they're going to say, this is what's happening to us next week.
I'm going to try to keep it short because I know we only have a little time left. I'm not going to say that much. I think the Browns will, of course, score touchdowns. They will score points. But Spillane definitely coming back is going to be a huge factor in this run game and this run defense. If they could stop Chubb and Kareem Hunt, then the Steelers will look a little pretty. Only problem I have was in Week 17 was kind of resting Big Ben, because we've seen that be a problem for teams in the future where they took the starter out and then they go on to lose that divisional game or that wild card. But Big Ben's done this before. He's got a new elbow. So hopefully all that's a change of the past.
Yeah. Well, one thing we can all hope for is that it's an entertaining super wild card weekend. Hopefully we don't get a lot of blowouts like we think it's going to happen with the Colts and the Bills and whatnot. That'll do it for this episode of Next Man Up. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NextManUp05. Follow our SportsMe. Go download SportsMe and go follow us Next Man Up Sports Podcast. If you want to hear our voices, go check out our Anchor. If you want to see our faces, go like and subscribe to the YouTube. Josh, thank you so much for coming on. Nick, hit us with a like and subscribe.
I got so mad. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Screw the Steelers. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Go Bills. Bills to the bowl, baby.
All right. Have a good one.
Party 7.